of the University of Makeni, a university that my boss, my mentor, President Ernest by Koroma, under his leadership, we were able to establish this university that today has gained so much accolade in the academic sphere of this nation. Mr. Chairman, Master of Ceremony, the Registrar, members of the Academic Council, I extend my felicitation to the VC and the DVC of this institution, members of the Students' Union, members of other institutions. I can see high school students here this afternoon. I can see a host of people of diverse entities. And I want to say thank you very much for being here and supporting a thought-provoking debate to which we as political leaders of this country have the responsibility to showcase that there is a future ahead for the youth of this country. When I listen distinctly to the debaters, and I was in my little corner there, sat there, sighing and giggling at the same time from their various contributions. But it tells me that there's not going to be vacuum in leadership in our country. And there's some readiness of our youths of this nation that in a way they are conscious in this day and age of the social media and the educational level that they are able to understand and digest what it takes to be in leadership. I want to say to you all that I enjoyed your points, and that you will face the realities of life when you get out of school, and know that it's an Herculean task when you're given the mantle of leadership. But I want to say to you that in 1961, when the Union Jack was lowered in April of 1961, April 26, and the great gray, white, and blue flag that we have as a symbol of our political emancipation in Sierra Leone, to show that no more of colonialism, but for we as Sierra Leoneans are able to stand on our own. And today's topic, I say to you, when you say the power of unity, cultivating national cohesion for a stronger Sierra Leone. That particular moment of having the green, white, and blue, I'll quote from Andrea Chrono, who stated that our flag is not just one of many political points of view, rather it's a symbol of our national unity. And our national unity to indicate, as we have in our green, white, and blue, striving very hard to make sure that we are able to build our country, irrespective of our colonial masters, showing our political emancipation as other African countries. But today, we are still sad over the issue of getting out of our political emancipation, but also to have economic emancipation. Because our political emancipation will be compromised if we don't have economic emancipation. And it's that freedom that we need in order to say we are free at last. And knowing very well it's on that umbrella that we can be able to sustain the peace that we have. And in doing that sustainability of peace, then we can talk about unity. And that unity, that's what we need when it comes to making Sierra Leone a better country. In our strive to make our country a better place, and making sure that our generations unborn can also see the beneficiation of our efforts. I say to you all this afternoon that when we look at the efforts being made in other countries, we saw what happened in Southern Africa. We saw the struggle that apartheid brought to our people. Thank God, in our strive to be able to gain independence, we never had to do that. We saw what happened in South Africa. And indeed, for the great Nelson Mandela, who was a liberator in Southern Africa, once mentioned that, I quote, "I have fought against white domination and I have fought against black domination. But," Nelson Mandela further mentioned, "I have cherished ideals of free society which all persons live together in harmony and equal opportunity." And when we talk about that equal opportunity in our society, it is only when we have peace and making sure that the rule of law is applicable to all and fairness to all. In your quest as Sierra Leoneans to ascend to where our eyes were looking up to, let me say to you all this afternoon that in that ordeal when we were going through as Sierra Leoneans, being recognized for what we stood for in the past, excellence in Sierra Leone, not recognized as the Athens of Africa, but today we have the challenges of how to regain that status. I say to you, there was no bloodshed, and we were able to gain independence without bloodshed. Or and below, other Sierra Leoneans were misguided and brought problems in our country. And with that today, we say it is only what we can do to sustain that peace, to which the power of unity is very important. And we as politicians have the responsibility to cultivate national cohesion for a stronger nation. Let me say to you all that in that journey, we have learned along the years, like other countries did, like Rwanda did. Rwanda went through a broader civil war than we did and lost over 800,000 lives. And for us, we lost close to 50,000 lives. Notwithstanding that, Rwanda today has put aside tribalism, and there are no Hutsis or Tutsis in Rwanda. They are all Rwandese. And to which I am very happy to say that even in Rwanda, when you're talking about peace, according to Paul Kagame, the president, at their 20th anniversary of the Unity Club, he stated, I quote, "We speak of unity because President Paul Kagame, during the 20th anniversary of the Unity Club, putting Rwandese together, I quote, "We speak of unity because we as a nation have known the consequences of division. We are here to remind each of the importance of unity, of recognizing each other's humanity. What is the alternative to unity? The alternative to unity is chaos. A nation destroyed by its own people. If we choose to turn against each other, we are serving the interests of those who benefit from our self-destruction." Ladies and gentlemen, students all, we in Sierra Leone have had our bitter pill of that experience, in which because of lack of unity in our country, we were faced by 11 years of brutal civil war. But notwithstanding that, in our efforts to regain peace and sustainability in our country, with the effort of President Ahmad Kabak, who, as a pioneer of peace and stability in Sierra Leone after this bloody civil war, we recall during the independence anniversary of 2002, he mentioned, I quote, "I have chosen unity, freedom, and justice as the theme of this independence anniversary message. This, as you know, is the motto of our country. seriously to try to understand our national principles and objectives and apply them in our relations with each other. In our effort to make sure that peace and unity is sustained in our country, it is behoves on all of us, from our individual self, in retrospect of what we do as an individual, having peace with yourself, uniting yourself together as a family, standing as an impetus for you to grow from where you are. If you don't have peace within your household, you know what it means, the chaos that will bring. If you don't have peace, you don't have unity in your community, in your school, in your country, you know what it means. When we listen to the various speakers here, I like some of the grievances or observations they have made. Also, thinking about what we the politicians need to do is a strength for us to look at, not a negative criticism. I want to say that clearly to all of us this evening that I have looked at it in my own way, that for us to be able to identify how we can be able to maintain that unity among ourselves, we have to look at the definition of itself. How can we unite ourselves? How can we, from various cultures of society, and know that our cohesion is very important? And in doing so, let us say that today in our country, with about 18 ethnic groups, our tribal line is at a challenge. It's at a crossroads to which we have to observe, to which tribal interaction is very important. We have to make sure that tribal interaction is important. Yes, I heard about intermarriages. I heard about children going from one location to another location in our existence in various societies in our country. But when we look at what is happening in depth, there are few more lessons to learn in order to address the tribal interaction. We have made gains in what we do, no matter what the situation. But Sierra Leone has made record in terms of what we've done in the past, in terms of religious tolerance. In other countries, we've seen today, there are bloody civil wars ongoing because of religion. And for us, as Christians and Muslims, we have been able to show that we have religious tolerance in marriages and whatever we do, in our communities and where we find ourselves in schools or places of work. We have shown to the world that religious tolerance does not hinder our progress as a country. I also want to state that it's the responsibility of our traditional leaders to make sure that they do their part in our diversity, in our various 18 tribes or more, to look at how they can also be part of building that synergy among us, that there is a nexus amongst us, them as traditional leaders, paramount chiefs, to be able to educate us in our various chiefdoms and our districts, to be able to understand that we are Sierra Leoneans first, putting aside those pettiness of tribalism, putting aside those ethnic beliefs, but looking at the bigger picture, that is only when we decide to resolve and live together that we can be able to transform our society. Unity is strength. It's only in unity that we can remain stronger. But when we are divided, we will remain weak, and that weakness will hinder our progress as Sierra Leoneans. Forget the past. Know that you put that behind you, and look forward to whatever you can do to better your situation. Yesterday, in one of my in my presentation in your sister university here, I did mention the message of the bridge, and this is the time for us to put aside those pettiness of tribalism. This is the time for us to put aside those pettiness of regionalism. This is the time for us to put aside the pettiness of color and look at the picture of the redemption of Sierra Leone for a better station for all of us in order to move forward. We have a task at hand, and those obligations that we have as leaders of this country, as parents of this country, we have a task to make sure that we set the stage properly, that generations that will follow through will follow the positive path and look at themselves as Sierra Leoneans, learning from the experience like I mentioned about Rwanda. The need in Sierra Leone, after all these years of civil strife, yes, to need to do more. And in doing so, let us look at it, how we do it, and make sure it cascades not only from us, but also to our family. And others can replicate that. When I was the vice president in the office of Sierra Leone one time, you know, learned from us how we were able to handle religious tolerance. And I explained to the UN official our scheme that we had adopted. But I also touched on the aspect of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee report. And in doing so, it was very clear that we have decided to move on as a nation, as a people, putting those past behind us. So when I talk about this and say we have to make the message of the bridge on which we can put those past behind us, those faults behind us, because only when we are not united, then the negatives of society can be among us. Let us put aside those issues of tribalism, so where favoritism or nepotism have excelled so far, and to make sure that you as Sierra Leoneans first, you are not identified by your ethnicity, but you as Sierra Leoneans, to make sure you contribute to the socio-economic development of our country. I know you can do it. Yes, I know we can do it. And when we decide to do that, and those pettiness have been placed aside, I say to all of us, we'll have a better future. Let us, from henceforth, look at the unity of our country. That it's only with that unity, that instrument, that we'll be able to transform our country. And we as politicians and leaders of this country should know that we have a task, and make sure that we don't deceive the young voters any longer, giving them what it takes during the elections period, and when it's over, we are done and dusted with them. Judgment will come when karma settles in. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. I say be encouraged. For truth must be said to power. And for us, for what you've been doing so far, and making sure that you're preparing yourself for the future, and all of these type of debates, to say there is a debate, a SamSumana trophy debate here at the University of Makeni. I am very thrilled to know that indeed what we had put in place to make sure such an edifice, such a university that exists in Makeni is truly gaining dividend, and that they are proving their mentors in the academic sector. Continue to do that, and the sky is the limit. Ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the SAM 28, the job should be done, and we owe it to the people of Sierra Leone. Thank you very much.